live, I believe.
Yeah, we're live!
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, everyone. This is Araceli. I am a transition financial specialist, and I work with single professional women to rearrange their finances to increase the cash flow by at the same time decreasing the debt and retiring early. But I'm also a real estate investor, and that's why we have this channel with my friend Colette.
Hi, everybody. My name is Colette Rava. I am a residential real estate broker in, what can I say, GTA West. So I work anywhere. My favorite clients are anybody who wants to work Etobicoke and then west all the way to Burlington or even Hamilton these days. But why we are here, and our channel's name is
ACDC.
Because Araceli and Colette, and we want dynamic change in the real estate industry and with our clients, with finances and with home buying or selling, to make sure that their lives are awesome. And the best that we can do for them is give information and help them through whatever transitioning things that's going on in their lives. So we're here for you. We want to answer your questions.
Well, that's great. Well, today, Colette, I just want to ask you some questions. As you know, I'm a real estate investor here in Canada and also in the US.
Right.
And in the US, one of the things that I do is I do a lot of research before I buy my property. So if I'm interested in buying a property, I usually do a drive-by. I say, I like this house in the neighborhood because this is the ugliest house in the nicest neighborhood. That is kind of my my criteria to buy.
Yeah.
But what I do is I do have a lot of information. I have the MLS. I have other sources like Zillow and Realtor.com and also other places to go and get some information. And sometimes even in the county itself. Yeah. Now, here is one of the things that it really, really frustrates me because you know what? I usually go out for a walk and go for a drive within my neighborhood, and I'm always looking out for houses that are up for sale that I like, and I just wanted to compare the prices. And for me to find information here in Canada, it's almost impossible. Yesterday I found a house that I like that is just being listed. I saw the sign and I went to the realtor's website. It was not there. I went into the MLS and it's not there. And I had to go to my good friend Colette because I couldn't find any information about this property. Colette, can you tell me, how is it that the people price their houses? How did they come up with an estimate? How did they list it if they don't know how to compare it to?
That's your answer. That's your answer.
Oh, okay.
So you did the right thing. So that's generally what so many people are just like you, where they really want, they desire information. And it's something that I get calls almost on a daily basis saying, maybe not a call. I prefer text to say, hey, this is, and you did the right thing. It was perfect. I'm like, oh my God, this is great. So I get, honestly, my friends, my family, my, people that meet me, like the whole channel here where people say, hey, I'm actually really interested. I want to know what's going on with this house. So in Canada, there's a couple things. So the one thing that you said was there was a sign on the lawn. In Ontario, I don't know about the rest of Canada, but in Ontario, you have, as a listing agent, 24 hours to post on MLS the price and whatever else that it's actually listed. If you do not, it means that is either there's something going on. So either the seller is not sure, maybe they're still staging the house, maybe there was an accident, like you don't know what happened. So generally speaking, you have 24 hours unless you put a sign on it, you actually put another rider on the sign that says coming soon or exclusive. So if you see those two things on the sign, then call me anyway, and I will put a marker on it. I'll make a little note and I'll look the next day. I'll look in the 24 hours, or I can call the agent as well to say, hey.
So what does the exclusive mean?
Okay, so what exclusive means is that they cannot, they don't have the permission from the seller to put it on MLS, which I don't know why anyone would do that these days. But so basically what happens is, let's say, I'll give you a scenario. You know, there's somebody that is going into a retirement home and they don't have a lot of money, so they want to negotiate the list price and the buying agent's the commissions. So if they say, hey, listen, I will do it as the listing agent, I will find both the seller and the buyer. No other agents are involved. It's exclusively mine. I get both ends. They will still cooperate with other brokerages and agents, but it's a little trickier. So it's a long conversation, but basically speaking, that's what exclusive means. They don't want to put it on MLS. It might be because they're not ready either. Or let's say me, sneaky agent, which I'm not, let's say that agent has buyers already in their pockets and they just want to show their seller, oh, look, I'm putting a sign up on your lawn. I am putting it up for sale, but here, sign here in this little spot, and it doesn't go on MLS, so the public doesn't know, but they have to. So let's say you're walking around the neighborhood, you see the sign on the lawn, you call the agent directly. They want to double end it. They want to have the commission from the seller, and they want the commission from the buyer.
But is that legal? Is that legal to do? It's
totally legal.
Oh, okay.
Again, it's about you, seller, knowing what you're signing and why you're signing it. So let's go back to the scenario of somebody's going into a nursing home. The house is full of things. The agent wants to take full responsibility that nothing gets stolen, especially with COVID, that people are protected. They're wearing their masks. They're wearing their gloves. They want that extra kind of service. They will do that. Then the agent will be there at every showing to watch out. You're not bringing in your kids. You're not bringing in, 500 people to walk around. I've had listings myself where people bring kids and then the kids are eating candies and there's candies like left on the floor. It's crazy. It's crazy what buyers will do. So as an agent, I know there's a lot of unprofessional agents out there, but I also know there's a lot of professional agents out there. But if you want to give that extra service to your clients, like I do, I actually offer that. If they want me to be at every showing, I will do that. Anyway, so I digress. So the question, really your question was, how do I get information?
Yes.
When you're dealing with a realtor, like myself, I not only find you the price that it's selling for now, but I also do a little bit of research to see what it's sold for before and how much they're selling it now. So let's say it was on the market last year for $1 million. Why are they putting it on the market now for $1.3 million? Doesn't really make any sense, right? But there's more information to be had. So I do all that research, not on every house before you go see it. I do all that research when you're really interested. We've seen the property. You really want to know what's going on. How am I going to, is the list price a good list price? And what do I offer? So I go through all that with my clients too. Does that answer your question?
Well, yeah, it does. But Colette, for me, as I am a real estate investor, I don't really want to bother you every single time to go out there and find information. After a while, you're not going to answer my phone, You might.
No, I will. But you have to be, okay, so yeah, you're right. There is give and take. So obviously, if you're going to be you're calling me and asking me all these questions, I am going to expect you to deal with me, that I will represent you when you go out to buy. So that's the sort of, understanding.
No, I totally understand that.
Right. But I'm okay with it. You're not going to call me every day.
No, probably not. But
quite
often.
Right, but it's okay. If I have the time, I will absolutely answer you right away. Yeah. And most of the time, it takes me 5 seconds to get that information.
Yeah.
So it's really not a big ask. I was going to say, the other thing that helps me is I get to really put my finger on the pulse of different areas that you're looking at. So I get more familiar with it. So you're actually helping me.
Okay, good.
Get a little bit more familiar with whatever areas. So let's say, what were you looking at? Like, let's say Meadowvale. I'm not huge in Meadowvale. That's the other thing too. I don't flyer neighborhoods. I don't market. All my clients come from word of mouth or repeat. So I like that. And once my clients know what I do for them, they're easy to go and tell their friends and their family, and I get clients, and I'm very happy with that system. I have no problem with helping any friends or, you know, friends of friends, things like that. I'm very happy with that. So list price. Do you want to talk about list price a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay, because we talked about this, so I have a little drawing.
Okay.
I hope you can see it.
I like drawings.
Yeah,
now,
I like it too. So I'm
the other point. The
yeah.
other point that I wanted to make here, Colette, is that when I do my analysis, especially on neighborhoods that I'm interested in, what I do is I drive around and I look at prices of houses that I like, that I think that I would be a good fit for me. So, and sometimes, you know, I really don't like to bother a real estate agent. Yeah. Just because the reason is that I'm just doing an analysis on where it's kind of like a trail, you know, like if I go on this street, I have this house that I like, I like the neighborhood, it has a good street, it has close, you know, maybe malls or something that is close by. So I'm just gauging the neighborhood and going street by street to see houses either that they're for sale or that I just particularly like. They don't even have to be for sale, right? Just want to know how long they've been there in the neighborhood. When was the last person that bought and how much they paid for it. It's very, very useful information for a real estate investor. Right. So the best thing that you can do is Google the address. Okay. So when you go, just, you know, 5 Main Street, Google it and see what comes up. Sometimes there are things like secondary websites, like, you know, let's say Remax or things like that, where they had the listing, let's say 5 years ago, and they don't take it down. Oh. So that's a tricky thing, because then you say, oh, look, the house sold for $500,000. And then you think it's still for sale. And then you go, well, it's $1 million now. What happened? It's like, because they didn't take it. So it's human error too on the internet. So you have to be very careful of what your is. Oh, that's good. So good advice. Yeah. Yeah. And for me, I tell my clients, please, you know, you're going to make yourself sick if you go to all these different secondary websites, because it's nothing but disappointment. So things sell really quickly these days too. So if you're on realtor.ca, that is the most accurate information you'll get, because we are regulated and we need to not just list within the 24 hours of the sign, but we also need to post when it's sold conditional, if it is sold firm, when. All these things really, really matter. So that's the only thing you know, unfortunately or fortunately for me, you have to use a realtor in Ontario to get that information. But if you're a serious buyer, I'm very happy to give you that information. And if you're serious about listing your house, this is how, like, there are several different ways to get a list price, because not all the time are you going to have a house that's exactly like yours. I mean, never. No, of course not. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm going to go through this little drawing really quickly. Okay. So before you go over the drawing, I want to ask you one more question that that I've seen a big difference between the US and Canada is that for some reason, when I go to the listing, they never have the square footage. Why? Okay. Oh, yeah. So this is a very interesting question, and I didn't know the answer. And this is my own theory from working in the industry. So basically, when you look at, so there's some people that really like numbers, and some people that really I need 2,000 square feet. I'm not even gonna look at a house that's under 2,000 square feet. Or they look at the purchase price and they divide it by the square footage, and they think, okay, well, this is $1,000 a square foot, but this house is $900 a square foot. I want that house. So it's kind of funny. It's almost like you're talking people out of, you're getting them to think a little bit differently about a house, because when it comes to income property is a little bit different than when you're buying something for yourself. So I always tell my clients, don't get hung up on their square footage, or if there is no square footage, don't even look at that. Let's go see the layout, because the layout of the house, the way the house is, you know, the flow of the house, if there is a bathroom right off the kitchen, those are the things that you really want to see in person. And it's not the square footage that really matters. It's how you picture yourself living there. Yeah. And sorry. The reason that I brought it up, because for me as a real estate investor, not only for looking where to live, but as a real estate investor, I want to compare why is a house, because no house is exactly alike, right?
Exactly.
You're not going to have exactly a 2,200 square feet at 2,200 unless they're exactly the same house, right? Same layout.
Right.
But what I'm talking to you about, it is I want to be able to know, to be able to price out what is it going for. Let's say this 2,000 square foot with this kind of finishes,
yeah,
and versus this 1,500 square feet in the same street with this finishes. So then I have a gauge, like it's $200, $300 a square foot. Then I know, okay, so they're pricing it higher because of the way that it's been finished. Right. This one hasn't been updated. This one they just renovated. They put a really nice kitchen, new colors, neutral. So then you can see the difference. But when you don't have square footage, it's a lot harder to figure out why are they basing the price on.
Because that's awesome. I love that question or that comment, because this is the game. Because realtors want, so investing is very, very different than purchasing for yourself. Yeah. But in theory, it absolutely makes the most sense for both buyers, right? Because as a buyer, you want to know you're not overpaying.
That's right.
So, okay, so let me explain this. So this should make sense to you now. So, or, I know it makes sense to you, but generally speaking, so to find a list price, these are the two things that you have to look out for. So let me do this one first. So can you see that? It says, no, actually, let's do the comps first. Okay. So comps mean, sorry, I have a reflection from my window. So comps mean comparables, right? So so let's say there's 5 houses there, and I don't know if you can see the prices there. So just generally speaking, like I started around the 500. So you're looking in the $500,000 mark. So you take the 5 houses that have sold recently, the most recent sales, and you get an average, and then you divide it by 5. So that sale, that house that you're looking at, if it's your house, you should be listing it around $521? Let's just call it $522,000. But that's a base.
Okay. Now, another question.
Hold on. So that's the base. Then let's say you have a fireplace, and that none of those other 5 houses have a fireplace. Then you can say, okay, that's worth X number of dollars. You add that to your purchase price. Let's say you have a pool. Some people think a pool is a minus. So you might have to minus that on the purchase price, on the list price. Maybe you have one less bathroom or one more bathroom. So all that stuff has to be figured out with you and your listing agent. So sorry, I just want to say one other thing too. I have lost out on listings because I'm very honest when I list a house and say, this is what I do when I'm a buyer. With my buyers, this is how I figure out the purchase price, what they want to offer you. You might list very high, and you might have another realtor come in and say, I can, oh yeah, forget this. That doesn't make any difference. I'll list your house for $1 million. And you go, I lose out because that seller is listening to that agent saying, oh, well, she can only get me 500. You can get me $1 million. Oh yeah, I'll go with you.
Well, no, I don't think that means that they're going to get you $1 million.
No, that's exactly the thing. But they get all wrapped up in saying, oh, well, this person thinks my house is more valuable, so I'm going to go with them. But the next step is price reduction. So what's going to happen? The $1 million goes to $750. It's going to sit on the market, sit on the market, sit on the market. People are not stupid. They have the same information that you and I do, if not more. They're going to offer you 500 because
they know they already did the comps. So another thing that I wanted to ask you before we go away from the comps is, what do you consider a comp? How far away from the property that you're going to sell it? Right? And how far away from being sold?
Okay, so I look out 6 months back. I don't go past 6 months. And because there's a couple things. Because there's not a lot on the market, number one. Oh, sorry, that's another thing too. Even though something sold 6 months ago, and let's say the growth of the area is 5%, I'll add 2.5% to that comp. Okay, so let's say 500 and then it's 6 months. So they're only, even, let's just make it easy and say the only comps were a year ago. Then you look at the growth of the neighborhood and say, okay, the neighborhood grew by 5% in 1 year. You add that 5%. So there's a little bit of math involved. You can't just say, all the comps are around 500. Okay, let's just put 500 on it. You can absolutely do that. But if you want to be truthful and really say to your seller, you can't promise anything, but you can say, I think your house should sell between this price and this price based on the information I know and based on what other agents will come back to you. There are times in the market right now, it's a little bit crazy because of COVID and because there's still not a lot on the market in the GTA. It's coming though. I'm not promising, but I think a lot more is coming on the market later in the fall. Let's just, we'll put our little reminder hats on. I'll put a little string or something on my on my wrist to remember.
So how far is a comp from the property that is going to be listed?
It depends. It depends. If it's a residential area, if it's a city, then I look. I want to say 500 meters, like not very, just the really small circle. And the other thing too, I know you and I both know that areas make a huge difference. So if I know, obviously the GTA, I know the area. So if I know, 5 streets down there is a train track, or there is a slaughterhouse or something like that, I'm not going to use those comps. So it's really, and things like, let's say Hamilton, for example, is a really good example, because there's the escarpment. So when you look at bird's eye view, even though it's like whatever, a few streets over, it could be a whole different neighborhood.
Absolutely.
So every neighborhood makes a different, every comp I look at, obviously it makes a difference. So I try and stay as close to the house as possible, either the first street or maybe the 2 streets surrounding, really tight. But doesn't mean that anything sold in the last 6 months.
That's correct. So then that's why you have to go out a little bit, something that is comparable to that. And so I understand that concept.
And square footage, obviously, how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, like all that stuff. So, but you're right. If I can't find the square footage on the listing, I have to go and do a little bit more research, go into public records, and usually it's there. Usually public records has more information. So it's all a little finesse too. Like you have to know as a realtor, okay, this looks really comparable. And because the finishes, see, this is the thing, that this is what excites both of us, is that if you see something that is listed very high, don't not make an offer on it. If you think it's a fixer upper and they put the price too high, absolutely, let's make an offer on it, and a lowball offer. I have no problem doing that as long as it's respectful. Right?
Of course.
Hey, you're absolutely crazy. You're off by $1 million.
Yeah.
But you and I have both seen that too. So, so that's the interesting thing about real estate, that it's very exciting sometimes. And sometimes people don't actually want to sell their house too. So that's the sad part about all this, wasting time, where you're listing your price, way crazy because you think that, okay, let me see if I can figure out why you're listing it so high. Is it because you're just sort of feeling out the neighborhood to see, or feeling out if there's actually buyers for that crazy price? Or do you actually have value in your house? Like, what is it? So sometimes when you see a listing that's totally overpriced, if you're not interested, even if it's off by $1 million, those sellers are not ready to sell. They're just, throwing spaghetti at the wall, which is sad.
Well, yeah, it is very sad. And it's actually kind of like the story of the house that I sent you a couple of days ago. I don't want to give you the address or anything like that, but it is in Mississauga. And there is a new construction going across the street. And I wanted to be curious because I like the neighborhood. I wanted to see what they were listing it. And they're actually listing it for more money than a new construction.
And double the size. It's almost double the size, I think. So that this is also a two story compared to a 1 story old bungalow. And this is a brand new construction, 2-story. Like the square footage is way more. I think
Way,
it's
way off, right?
double, but I don't want to say for sure because I don't have the numbers in front of me.
Yeah.
But this is the thing. Why would they list at that price and $300,000 more than the new purchase on the new house that's being built? Where did they get that number from?
I don't understand it. To me, that tells me exactly that the owners are really not serious about selling the property because they're not pricing it correctly. Like,
right.
Even though I'm not a realtor, I can tell you, like, there's no way that house is valued at that.
I agree with you. So the other thing too is that I find very, very interesting. That really fascinates me when people put their house on the market. There are some areas anywhere, not just Mississauga, not just Toronto, but the value is in the land. So forget about the house. What's the land worth? So that's another calculation too. So I actually didn't do that. I did my second little theory.
So how would you find out that? Like, I didn't know about the land versus, the house.
I'm sorry, that's the answer.
Okay.
Just ask me, because a lot of times, so especially in my neighborhood, so I'm in South Mississauga, it's called Lakeview. A lot of my houses in my neighborhood are my houses. Yeah, they're all my houses. Yay! A lot of the houses in my neighborhood are, I want to say, let's just say over 50% land value, if not 100% land value. Because a lot of the houses here were built in the 40s. A lot of houses, not a lot of houses, there's at least 2 in my neighborhood that are boarded up. They're very small bungalows that were like cottages, and nobody's lived there for years. So there's no value in that house. You probably could renovate it, but
it might not be a good idea.
Money-wise, it doesn't make any sense, because if you look at the neighborhood, we are in the multi-million-dollar, lucky me, multi-million-dollar houses. So anywhere in Mississauga, if you can find a freehold that's under $1 million these days, please call me and let me know, because it's very, very rare.
I'm looking for that too.
Right. Mississauga, GTA as a whole has really, I want to say for maybe 5 years now, the growth is crazy. The growth has been amazing, but it's also, when you think about it, nobody's making new land. So people who are willing to sell these bungalows, so let's say there's 3 bungalows in a row. What's happening is developers are coming in, they're giving the 3 owners a chance to sell them all to that one person, and they redevelop it into townhouses or into a condo or things like that. So that's your competition. If you want to buy one of these little townhouses, or sorry, one of these little bungalows, you better be fast, you better be on point, and you better be offering a lot. So, I'm sorry to say that. I wish it was some other way. If you have one house, maybe on a corner lot, buy it. If you can get it, buy it. Because even if you can take that house and sever it and put a semi-detached, or all day long, I would buy that. So there are still options. There are still houses out there that are possible. So these are the things you just have to be aware of, and you have to know where you want it. So location, location, location is the first thing. You have to know where you want to be. You in the States know exactly where to buy. I love that about you. Me, if I know my area, I love that. I don't deal with a lot of, builders have their own
criteria.
They're on contract. So those realtors, that's all they do all day long, is looking for lots and knocking on doors and saying, hey, this builder wants to buy your property. Will you sell it to us? So forget about that. That's your high volume developers are already 2 years down they've already bought 2 years ago. So you can't compare. Don't get yourself worked up about that. Right? Like that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about single family homes, one lot. And if you're lucky enough to sever the lot and be able to build on it, then that's a small builder. That's not somebody who's like doing this, as a living. This is like a secondary, like investors sort of thing. Okay, so let's go to no comps. Here, no comps on that side. Oh, no, wait a minute. Comps, no comps. Okay, can you see that? Wait a minute. No comps. Okay, so let's say there are no houses like your house and you don't know what to list for. So let's say this is a rural community that you don't really have anything that you can compare your house. There's no 2-bedroom, 2-bath, whatever. So what you do is you take your house, what you purchased it for, and then let's say it's 3 years later, and you say, okay, the area has grown by, for the last 2 years, it was a 5% growth in the area. So you add that plus the 1 year of 10%. Let's say we had a really good year last year and it grew, the area grew by by 10%. So then you do the math, you add it up together and you get $100,000 on top of the 5. So it's quite simple. I'm really making it very simplistic for just, because we don't have a lot of time. But if it's something that you're really thinking about, like this is even helpful for people that are thinking about getting into real estate. So I know I might be, this is very simple math, right? When you really want a basic idea of what to pay for, to buy a house for, or to list your house. When you show me a house to say, hey, this house is amazing. I want it for land value only. What should we do? I want to buy this. I'm sure of it. This is where I want, maybe this is where I want to live. This is where I want to invest because I know the GO train is right there. The highway's right there. Let's buy this property. I will give you a pro forma. You as a financial advisor can respect that because you know what you're looking at. Not a lot of agents will do that. I'm very conservative with my numbers too. I want you to make money if that's what your goal is. I will talk you out of buying a house because I know it won't make you money, but you'll make money when you go sell it. But if that's not your goal, if you want to make money today, it's a whole different numbers game.
Absolutely. And that is actually one of the great ways to have information. So you really have to find the right team to work with if that's what your goal is. And remember, the reason that we're doing these videos is for somebody that is thinking about getting into real estate investing or just maybe buying a property for themselves, to make the right decision, to pick the right area, to know what they're looking for. Are you going to be renovating, right?
Yes.
Is that something that you want because you're a handy person, because you have the time? Maybe you're a contractor. So all of those kind of things are really important. And, you have to define the why. But as a realtor, like I always want to have somebody that I can bounce ideas. And to me right now, what I'm doing is I'm actually looking and gauging the market in my neighborhood or the neighborhood that that I like. And I walk through many different areas that I like around here in the GTA, Mississauga, Toronto, Etobicoke. And I want to gauge what is happening. Like, why are people selling their house for why is this much compared to what it was last year, right? And understand the trend. And for me as an investor, it's very important because it'll give me an idea when I'm ready to buy, when I know that I'm buying, or if I find something that it is within what I want because it's something that I'm going to be renovated, then I know what to offer, right? And I don't want to insult the seller, but at the same time, I want to make a good offer that he knows and I know that I can make a little bit of money and he's going to work out with some money as well. So
okay, so I have another thing that I offer. So when people are serious about buying, so it's called an auto feed. So what that means is I belong to Toronto Real Estate Board. So if you're looking and you say, okay, I only work with people who have been pre-qualified for a certain amount of money. So first of all, you have to tell me location, where you want to be, where you want to buy. Second is how much money do you have that you can afford? So I'm not going to show you, why would I send you listings for $2 million when I know all you have is $750,000? So when you have your location, you have your price, and you generally know, I would like to be in a house that has 2 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms, let's just say. Then I'll say, okay, I will put you on an auto feed. I do like a very general search. And every morning at 2 a.m., I don't do it, it's automatic, that I send you listings from the MLS. So it's quite simple for you to go through, and this is what I'm doing with my buyers. And my buyers go every morning, they wake up and they're so excited, and they, find the listings that come up that are new in the areas that they chose, and they look at them, and then they'll either text me or they'll send me an email back and say, oh my gosh, we really like this house. Can we go see it?
Yeah.
And then we go down the process. So generally speaking, I don't show my clients a lot of houses because they're very clear on what they want from the beginning. If they're not clear at the beginning, saying, I want a townhouse, or I want a condo, or maybe I want a detached home, no, that never works out. It's a lot of spinning wheels.
Yeah.
And things sell quickly. You have to remember that. If you're serious, you have to make your wish list. Oh my gosh, that works every time. It's that intention of saying, this is what I want. You have to be realistic though. Sorry to break it to you. You can't find, a 6-bedroom, 3-bath for like, 500,000 in Mississauga. Sorry, I can tell you right now, not gonna happen. Maybe 20 years ago.
It just broke my heart.
You can have a mansion, but that's the difference between knowing the US prices and Canadian prices. Canada is it's always been different. It's always been more, if you have a good job, if you are stable, if you have a healthy down payment, you will be very happy with what you can find.
Absolutely.
But you know what? We got to play that game. We have to go see what's on the market. And magically, if you really love one house, I can go knock on that one door and say, hey, do you want to sell your house? They say, yeah, I'll sell it for $3 million. Okay, be ready for that. I know. I wish there was some magic pill that I could slip to them. Like it's like Star Wars, where you say, you will sell your house to me.
Yeah, you want to do that. You want to make them an offer that they cannot refuse.
Oh my God, no violence. But you know what I'm saying. So
yeah, I know.
As long as you know what to expect, absolutely. I walk through with clients. I walk the whole process from start to finish with them. I get texts, I get phone calls every day. What do I do about this? I love it. Honestly, the one thing I hate about real estate is that all real estate agents advertise to list your house, but they don't advertise to help you buy. And that's my strength, is to help people buy and make the right decisions, because it's the biggest decision one of the biggest decisions of their lives. So
correct.
I want an advocate. Same thing with finances.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want an advocate. I want somebody to tell me honestly not what you want me to do, but what I should do based on my lifestyle.
That's correct. And you know what? We go back to the same thing. Yeah. Doing your due diligence is obviously getting your finances in place, making sure that you know what you make versus what you spend.
Right.
And getting prepared for what it's to come. Like, what is realistic for you to have, to buy a house for? How much is it actually going to cost you every single month to maintain that house? And it's also going to allow you to continue to have the same lifestyle that you have.
Right.
So that is very, very important, because if you stress yourself too much, then you're going to suffer, because if you're used to traveling, if you're used to doing all of these purchases or any other activities that cost a lot of money, and you're going to restrict yourself from doing that, then in the long term, it's just not going to work. Right. So you also have to understand the long-term consequences of buying the property to fit your lifestyle, because this is something that you're going to be there for a long time, right?
Right.
And depending on what your circumstances, your family is, all of that, then you have to make a decision. And sometimes you don't have to leave both, but you have to be smart about how you're going to do it.
Right. So that's the interesting thing too. I just read an article a couple days ago about a couple who were planning to get married, and they had saved whatever, $40,000 or $50,000, something like that, for their wedding. And then they decided that, we're not going to have a wedding this year, so let's buy a house. And I'm like, oh my God, finally, somebody is smart. Like, this is the thing that, I'm sorry about the wedding industry and how, lots of people have lost their jobs, and it's really unfortunate. And same thing with just event planners and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
When you think of investing in your life, oh my God, even if you buy a condo or something that you don't have to pay rent anymore and you have this healthy down payment, all day long, I give my kids that advice. I give whoever is asking me, you know, what do? I have this sort of, you know, this nice little, you know, inheritance, let's say, or something else that they have been saving, and they get married, and oh my God, even if you even if you rent it out part of the year, let's say it's a vacation property that you buy, okay, fine, I have $40,000, but I bought a $200,000 property in Muskoka. Oh my God, it's an investment. Like, this is the thing that whichever way suits your lifestyle. If you want to travel, if you want a small place, a condo somewhere in Toronto, that when you need a place to land and you're renting it out for the rest of the year when you're not there, come on, it's going to pay for your vacations. It's going to pay for your mortgage. Why not? I'd rather live like that, below your means.
Absolutely.
Live below your means and be happy and have that lifestyle that you want. That's all.
And the same, you know, if you do get an inheritance, contact me right away. Because there's a lot of taxes, a lot of things involved that you need to know. And people, you know, make the mistake of having things in place or buying things that are not going to make you money, or are not going to give you, exactly, or they're not going to give you a return. So the way that I always talk to my clients is, you know, if you got this this amount of money coming in that you weren't expecting, try to do the best you can to maximize it and stretch it so you can either buy a property, buy something that is going to pay you, and you're going to be better off. Because to me, if I'm able to help you retire earlier, my God, you know, saving 5-10 years out of your life going to the office, maybe you don't do that now with COVID, but still you have all that time invested. So may as well try to come up with the best solution. Absolutely. And the same, you know, trying to buy a property, if you have that influx of money that you didn't have before, that might be a good solution for you. So
invest. Yeah. And it's not even, you know, when you really think of quality of life and what you want to do with your time and your money, oh my gosh, like it's really, I know it's exciting to say, oh my God, I can go to the store and buy whatever I want. Okay, fine. But then, you know, how is that going to help you in 5 years from now? Exactly. Are you going to be able to sell it? Okay, fine. Hey, I bought this mug. Yeah, for whatever, $10. Now, how am I ever going to be able to sell it? Is it important for me to sell it? No, it's, you know, there's that value for myself too. Like, I love something. So that's a whole other video.
Correct. So, and I think we're already over time, Colette. So if you do have any questions that we didn't answer today, that you want to know more about comps, or wanted to know more about some of the properties that are selling in your neighborhood, or you're interested in buying or selling and don't know how to price your house, please contact Colette as soon as possible. Make sure that you also get in touch with me if you are not working with an advisor, to see what are the options: selling, no selling, selling, buying a bigger house, or selling, buying a smaller house. So those are the options. So
you don't know how to save your money, call Araceli, because she will tell you, and she gives you options too. So
yeah, absolutely. It's always about you to make sure that you get what you want. Everybody has different ideas about how to manage their money, and I'm not going to give you only one path. There's all sorts of ways to do it, and so I'm here just to kind of guide you and make sure that you get what you want as soon as you can. So
yay!
And with that, we leave you, and we're going to see you next week. So please put your questions below, and just let us know if you want to see something specific for next week.
Do you like my high-tech sign?
Yeah.
Very tech, right?
Very, very tech. Okay.
Anyway, thanks for joining us.
Have a great day, guys.
Bye.